don't worry, there are lots of accomplishments under that name. So yes, it's like one of the best persons to actually have this topic because it's not just what he does, but also okay, it's not just what he does, but also he has experience in this field, so it's something that's related to what he does. So yes, it's not just going to be saying something for saying sake. So yes, the topic for today is building a successful online presence. Okay, IB, you can unmute and just say hi to everybody on the group so we know that you're here.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Seifa, thank you so much for always doing the usual. I appreciate you so much. You make heaven. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. So I know the weather is bad, so I don't want to ask us to turn on the camera because that can literally take us off the call. So now that we have stable internet, let's just go. Okay, so the first question is, can you provide an overview of why building a professional online presence is important in today's digital world?
Okay. So building a personal online presence is very important for anyone who wants to strive in the professional field. See, right? Because the professional world is tough and is also very, very disciplined with a lot of core values that a lot of organizations are looking forward to someone having. And how do they know that you have these core values that they need? Sometimes it depends on how much of a presence that you've been able to build online. That also determines the capacity that you have. It also determines how much of network you're going to also have, the people you're going to be networking with, who can, of course, lead you to more opportunities, right? People have built online presence and made a name for themselves via that pattern, and they are now thriving a lot in the professional world and professional industry. So it is very, very important and very imperative that in today's world, is even like, will I say non-negotiable, or would that be um, or would that be too much to say? But we all know that the competition in the world has increased from what it used to be in the past. Before, in those days, you could doing your stuffs and be in your environment, be in your place, do your thing, and be known for it, get well paid and all of that, right? But in today's world, it is more competitive. Businesses are striving to get people who are going to add value, who are going to um, um, be productive and add to their workforce and make them better at places that they were not better in the past, right? Or do things that they could not do in the past. And if you are able to build an online presence that you can tell and that businesses can look at it, or maybe someone in holding an important position in an organization can look at it and see you as the right fit for their organization, as the right fit for their business, and say, oh, okay, this person looks like a right fit for us. I'd like to have this person there, right? Then is also an added advantage. Also, when you are probably reaching out to organizations and brands trying to find out, okay, this is what I want to be, this is where I want to be, and they take a look at your online presence, right? They like, oh, okay, this person actually knows what he's doing, he knows his onion, or he has been able to build some level of presence in this particular field that he's actually striving for. And aside that, right, even in the ordinary world, for instance, there was a time someone was looking for an apartment, and the landlord of the place he finally got us an apartment was like, can this person pay? Those kind of questions, because of course you don't deal with these landlords directly. And it was through an agent, something like that. And the landlord had to go online to check for this person, right? And found out that, oh, he's a professional doing so particular stuff in the professional field. And they were like, oh, okay, he can pay for the rent. Is okay. It's okay for, and that was how he got the apartment, because there was some level of competition for the apartment as well. So you see how it is very important, right? I don't think I have to say much on this. It is very important and very imperative that if you want to strive in the professional world, then building a professional online presence is very, very, very important.
Okay, Ivy, thank you so much for that. So just to add to what he said, so we when we were having like a lot of people came in for interviews, and people keep asking, oh, is there like internship, are the placements based on what we're doing? Like, no, for this particular program, those modalities are not there. So this is one way I want to answer that question. For the courses we picked for you guys, which is system marketing and product design, in as much as it's something I always say, it's something that you really do not need somebody or need to work a certain job for you to have for you to get yourself a placement or a job. Um, Building an online presence is very important. I would say that because I know, I mean, even in this job that I am, my boss, we've had some facilitators or some mentors coming, and we literally just sourced for these people on LinkedIn. Like they didn't do anything. They were just there, and they just like got the offer. Like they didn't even put out a form of offer letter or, oh, can I come and do this for you or do that for you? It's going through your LinkedIn profile. And that's something that a lot of people do not know, that a lot of bosses just go through their LinkedIn profiles and be like, oh, this person is a good fit for this. We'll send them. So a lot of times when you have that personality, that profile built up, you get people send you get job ads sent directly to your inbox. You don't have to like go out searching for things. You get to the place where these things come to look for you just because what you built that presence around it. So yes, you don't really have to. It's very, very important. Like I said, it's not even a joke. Don't worry, even me, I'm lacking in this area. So it's something that I intend to work on. So it's not just for you guys, but yes, it's very important. You own a professional space. You want to even excel in anything you're doing professionally in this field, in the field of tech, you need to build that presence, your personal online presence or your brand online presence. Like you just have to build it. So with this, we go to the next question, which says, sorry, 1 second. Okay. What are some common challenges that individuals face when trying to establish their personal brand online, and how can they overcome it?
Um, okay. I think I'll say the first one is on, like, basically most of it is low self-esteem. Um, I think everyone suffers from it. But practically everyone, myself, and maybe any other person you can think of. Just I think it's low self-esteem because you are just you're just this you just have these thoughts in your head that you're not good enough, right? And you know how the online space can be when you dive into this space and you see people doing amazing things that you are not doing, or it makes it look as though you have not even started, or it makes it look as though you are not even part of what is going on in your space, in your field, in your profession. Then there's this low self-esteem that begins to come into your head, into your mind. Oh my God, this I'm not good enough. Okay, I don't think I can do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to disgrace myself. I don't want to put out stuff there and it looks as if I'm a joke, right? It happens to the best of everybody. So I think that's one of the major things. But you just have to find a way to overcome it and just keep putting yourself out there. I also fall short on this whole thing. I'm telling us at times, right? Because it happens to the best of everybody. But you just have to keep putting yourself out there. It doesn't matter how or what. Of course, try as much as possible to ensure that what you're putting out makes sense, speaks your personal brand, the way you want to portray yourself, right? What kind of perception do you want people to have of you? So you give that perception to the public or to any space that you are thriving in to build your professional brand, because it's what you put out and the perception you want people to look at you from which angle, that's how they are going to look at you. So you just have to keep doing it. Odumodu Black said something. You know, Odumodu Black, most of us know him here now. He has been singing for years. Like, he has been doing this music thing for years. But look at when he finally came to limelight, just last year. Last year, right? I think last year, 2023. That was when he came to limelight. He said something. He said, just keep putting this stuff out that he just keep doing the thing and putting it out there. Whether it's good, whether you feel it's not good, you are not the judge of it. Allow the people to judge, but keep putting it out there. And one day it's going to click, right? And putting yourself out in the professional world can be stressful, because of course you have to adapt to the professionalism that you are supposed to portray, and you have to adapt to values and other basics that are supposed to be done as a professional, right? And it can be very, very stressful, draining, tasking. But of course, anything worth doing does have some level of sacrifice. And maybe you just have to pay the sacrifice to keep putting yourself out there and keep building yourself and giving yourself a perception of the kind of person or the kind of professional that you are and what you can do, the capacity you've been able to build, the value you're able to offer to be able to help organizations or help a brand to move from where they are to where they want to be, right? Or better still, if you want to strive even as an entrepreneur, you still want to put yourself out there, because you might have there are cases that you might have to sell yourself first as a brand before you even begin to sell your business, if you have one, right? So I think that's the very major thing that anyone who tries to put themselves out there, the professional, establish themselves, will always face trying to establish a personal brand online. I think that's like the major thing that anyone will face. Every other thing can just be, put secondary, trying to put stuff together that you might just fall short, right?
There is something a lot of people actually goes through, right? They call it imposter syndrome. It's funny because I've had during the course of us organizing programs, we've had people say things like, "Oh, LinkedIn is not my space. LinkedIn is too competitive." Like I don't know, especially LinkedIn. I mean, I think you can confirm this. I think
The
most
truth is
people are
that
scared of.
even me, I'm scared of LinkedIn. I will not lie to anybody. I'll put myself in your shoes and be very honest. I'm very scared of LinkedIn because there are a lot of things that you see there. And you just like, oh my God, what's going on? Right. And of course, just like you said, imposter syndrome works a lot too. And then the ability, also the problem of I will do it tomorrow. I will do it. Okay, tomorrow I'll do it,
Yeah,
not today. I'll be doing it
procrastination.
next time. And then you keep procrastinating and procrastinating, and then before you know it, you are out. Or sometimes the hardest is always to start. But one thing is to start, another thing is to also stay consistent in doing what you're doing, right? And that one can also be a very big headache, right? You start today, or you do today, do tomorrow with fire, you know, um, 1 week fire, and then you now say, let me rest. You rest one day, from one day, 1 week, 1 week, 1 month, 1 month, 1 year, 1 year, you are out. It happens. So there's a saying that, don't worry, I think I'll say that later. But yeah, so if I can go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
Wait, we say that later. I don't know. That's actually fine. And this is something that I always tell people. And the funny thing is that LinkedIn is the one space where you need to excel more than these professionals. People have 10 years of experience, they have 20 years. You see them, they have their, in fact, that's the thing, right? Do not always compete. Like, do not compete. Like, if your business is, if what you're doing, if you're just 2 months into it, stop looking at somebody that has been in that field for 10, 15 years. Like, it's not going to be the same, right? It's not going to be the same because what they have is more than what you have. But you can actually build on what you have because that's the advantage I've gotten. I always tell people, leverage LinkedIn. No matter how much you think that it's a lot, even if you have just one person like your comment and your post, right? Just fine, start with it. The truth is, people are, they may not respond. People see your post. I can tell you that when I go through LinkedIn, for myself, for example, I go through LinkedIn, right? And I see a lot of posts. I don't necessarily like them, but then if I want something, I know exactly where to go. So that's it. I've had people that I know personally that they put out something once a while ago. Like, I was saying this, that for, especially for you guys, your job, the what you're learning currently, the skill you're learning currently is not something that you really need to have done a job for you to put that out there. You can actually create a job, create a portfolio by yourself, and then put that out there. You can and keep just uploading your portfolio. Someone would see it and they would pass it. But then when they need something and they like it, they just remember, oh, there was that person, I saw that post. I've done it several times. So if I'm doing it, you can imagine how many more people are doing that. So, right, just because someone is not liking your post doesn't mean that it's not visible. People aren't seeing it. It's not true. I don't think that's true. I mean, because I know how many posts I see, I literally scroll through and I do not like. So yes, it's very, very important. Like, you can leverage those spaces. I know you're afraid, you're scared, but trust me, if you do, and we're spending this time out because a lot of people are just hoping that, oh, when they finish this program, they'll just get internship and that will be it. No, trust me, you can even do that internship, and then after that internship, that's where it ends. Nothing happens right after that. But the effort and the opportunity you try to create for yourself is what will actually take you, I mean, higher. So yes, we are all scared of LinkedIn, right? But start with one post. In fact, let us get all of us here to like each other's posts. Let us start from there. That, that's how we're going to build it. With that, we can overcome. So our next question goes, can you discuss the importance of storytelling in personal branding and share some examples of successful storytelling strategies? So these are stories that you have, yeah, success stories.
Storytelling. Mm, storytelling is important because people like stories. People are more emotionally attached to stuffs than trying to think about it the other way around, trying to be very psychologically smart. People are more emotionally inclined to something. So if you can tell good stories, right, you can always capture the emotions of people. Storytelling, as a matter of fact, is a skill on its own that can be mastered, right? And okay, let me give you guys an instance. You go on a platform and you're just scrolling through, and then the next thing you see a post that stops you and begins to tell you a story about something, whatever the thing might be. You will be more inclined to stop and read that stuff till the end than the one that's just talking plenty things and you leave, right? So storytelling is very important. If you can tell good stories and capture the emotions of people, that's what we also say, that people buy more with even their emotions, except for maybe high ticket products that has to go through different phases. When we mean high ticket products, we mean products that are very expensive, right? That people have to dole out a lot of money, say maybe in very large millions to buy. then that's when people will begin to do a lot of analysis and thinking of how to buy it and blah blah blah. But of course, you must have captured their emotions first. So it's always we always say that people buy more with their emotions, right? So if you're able to capture the emotions of people, tell them stories doesn't have to be success sometimes. People tell different stories just to capture emotions of people, just to get emotions. Um, um, I'll use even the vague ones now. I don't even need to go deep down into professionals. Let's even use the vague ones. Who remembers when there was this artist that was said to have faked his death? I can't remember his name now. I know his name. I can't remember now. But he's a Nigerian artist. And he was said to have faked his debts, right? Why do you think he did that? He didn't do it because he just wanted to do it. He did it because he needed to capture the emotions of people. People are very emotional. For instance, now, she, Mobad, God bless his soul. When Mobad died, that was when a lot of people started streaming his music. People who did not listen to his music before started streaming his music because there's a story that Mobad is dead and they like the buzz and they are going to see the music. Same thing happens if you go to Twitter. Most of the people that are cashing out from Elon Musk are people that tell stories, whether true or false. Can be stories about how someone divorced their husband and then bring up all those topics that make people just jump on the bandwagon. Right. So you see that storytelling is very important. Very, very important. And there's what's his name again? What's that guy's name? Can't remember his name. I follow him on Twitter. He's a professional, but his content style is more always talking about families, right? And spending time with family. That's his pattern. That's his type of content. So that's how he has positioned himself, the perception he has given. He's an Indian. To, to I think he's an Indian. To um, that you can be someone who is successful and still spend time with your family, with your child, and that, or with your family, your child, your children, your wife, your spouse, and that is the most valuable thing you can ever do, and it is the most, it's the thing that can make any man the most happiest, and that's how and he keeps always telling stories about himself and his son. He takes us on a journey. He and his son Roman. His son's name is Roman. How they go to stuff. Even the boy can't even say things, but the boy doesn't talk. But he will tell you stories on how his son has been, saying this and that and all of that stuff. So that's the kind of perception he's giving. So if you can tell stories, right, you are going to be successful. And he's very successful at it because he tells these stories very well and he makes them look very good. Who again? I think there was someone on LinkedIn that also tells stories of himself. There's also this guy that does chess in the slums, something on Nokoya, right? And yes, he might not be stories, but already there's a story he tells, and the story he tells is that he takes chess to the slums, and he makes the boys in the slums, whom people feel are good for nothing, the children in the slums people have seen as good for nothing, who are growing up to be potent, who are just walking around, pickpocketing and stealing things. Some of them are think to be potential agberos and thieves and good for nothings in the future. And he's converting them to become professional chess players, teaches them how to play chess, and they play their chess. He organizes a competition for them where they stay together and play chess amongst themselves. After which they take them out of the slums, beat them up, clean them up, and of course, for the grand finale, they play the grand finale competition. Whoever emerges gets a prize, and they still send these boys to what do they call it now? To different institutions or scholarships and stuff like that. You can see now that I just told you Tunde Onokoya, thank you. I just told you a story of this guy, and you see how it sounds. You see how it makes sense, and people are more inclined to buy this story. People are inclined to, oh, what a great work you're doing. You become emotional about it. and he sells his name, right? He was talking about the time he went to apply for visa, was going to the US, and because the person who was giving out the visa was like, "Are you the Tunde Onakoya, the one that does chess in the slums?" He said, "Yes." She was like, "Oh my God, I love your work." And just like that, visa was approved, right? And there are people who he has also heard of their stories that because they are bearing that surname Onakoya, people feel like they are alienated or from his line, and they have got some favors. So that's because of the kind of stories that he now tells of. He has given a perception of himself, and he has also been telling us stories of going to the slums to get these boys a better life and teach them how to play chess at a professional level. That's the story. So it is important. It's a skill that you might want to learn how to tell good stories, intriguing stories that will sell. Sometimes you might not get the kind of reactions that you want, but just like um, um, Madam Saifa said, people are seeing what you're doing. They are seeing it. They might not like it. They might not react. You might feel like you're wasting your time, but they are seeing it. It's popping up to their face and they are seeing it. And you are growing in bits, right? In bits. And LinkedIn is a place that if people want to follow you or connect with you, most times they go through your profile. They want to go and check your profile, right? See your profile, see what you looks like, see what you look like, see the kind of things you've been saying, see what you've done in the past and all of those stuff. So you want to keep all of those things in check and detailed. All right.
Thank you so much for that, I think, because that is such a relatable thing, right? This storytelling. So it's, I mean, scientifically proven now that what's that? The human span, attention span has reduced by a lot, right? But yes, just like you said, storytelling. People want to capture emotions. It's true. I love dogs. I do. I spend, like, say, um 80% of the time I spend on YouTube going through content. I go through content of puppies. Cute animals. They're just beautiful. They're adorable. They're just pure love. Yeah, well, someone has millions of people like me who are so in love with dogs. Just clicking, watching. That's what we do. That's what we do. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy. They're cashing out. Everybody's
Okay, you
happy.
like dogs. Me, I like wild animal. See all those See all those ones that those Indians used to play with wild animal. We just play with lion, tiger, all
Well,
those. I just love.
I
I
love
just enjoy.
them too,
I just enjoy
actually.
watching those kind of videos. They are cashing out, so yes.
Exactly.
I just
Everybody's
love.
happy.
I'm happy. They are happy. No problem.
They put in the time. They're cashing out. My emotions are in check. I'm happy. Imagine, uh, my colleague will always say that no matter the mood I'm in, no matter how angry I've been, once I pass by a dog, my mood changes. And I didn't really take it seriously until recently. I actually really discovered that it's true. So you can imagine that it's just something that is captivating, right? So if it's something you do, I would even advise, as you're telling these stories, make sure you try on video content. My God, people do not have the time to read through a long post, but trust me, they will watch through a video. And it's not just people, even me. I used to love reading hardcover books, but guess what? Now, what I do now, I listen to what I'm supposed to be reading, right? Because while I'm listening to it, I'm doing other things. But I don't want to miss out on reading at the same time. I don't want to miss out on my work. So I have to find a way. So whoever invented um reading in the background and putting a plain picture in front, that person just did me a favor. So if his channel is putting up stuff that I want to listen to, I am listening on him all the time. He's making money. I am getting my books and doing my work. So that's just it, bringing that satisfaction, right? These things look like they are so difficult. Yes, they're not so easy, right? But when you start, you actually realize that it's not as difficult as it seems. It's just like a step at a time, one step at a time. And I'm really particular about this because lately I've been hearing stuff like oh, you want to train people, you empower them, you have to. I've come to understand from running so many programs that money is not always the problem. Like money is not, even with business people, money is not the problem. But they don't know. See, if you don't know what you're doing, regardless how much money you're giving, you will make mistakes and you will lose a lot. You might not lose everything, but you will not make as much as you're supposed to make. So even before you put that money into place, the things that you can do on your own, you need to get those done. So like it's something that is very, oh, more on imposter syndrome. Okay. Yeah, so you see, I would just say should I say testimony for imposter syndrome? I'll just say post. Just post because it's you're literally the one shortchanging yourself, right? It feels like, oh, nobody's going to like this post, nobody's going to is going to want to do like it's how do I put it? I'm looking for a better way to describe the word because I came across someone's post of how she talked about how she struggled with for a very long time before she eventually put it out there. I can just tell you one thing, you can do your research on it, right? And then when you're researching, try as much as possible to relate it to yourself, right? You may not be experiencing the complete total symptoms of what the person is, of the very severe cases, but like the very minor cases, you can just see, as you post it, remove your eye. Don't even go to the likes. That's the problem. Don't look at the like. Do not look at it. You want to see if someone liked it or not. No. The next time you're posting, do not look at the likes. I can assure you that in the next two, three, four, by the fifth, sixth post, you'll be good for it. Like just act like the like is not there. I can tell you that people see your stuff and then eventually you would start getting, they might not always come out on the main page to like say, oh, this content is helpful to my life and stuff like that, but they would always send you private messages. I know because I had a page on Facebook that where I used to write and there was a time I wanted to stop because I was like, oh, I have a lot of things going for me. And then when I went through my messages, people were literally like, oh, don't stop because like this content is really helpful for us. Like, and then you see people and you just realize, okay, I'm actually doing something for someone's life. So if it's just one or two persons, that's totally fine. Just keep on, put the first post, just put it. Use that one to welcome yourself. In fact, if it's the flyer you're going to learn how to design here, that you post first. Just leave it. I can tell you, you may think these are bad things, but you would come back in the next the next 1 year, and you tell yourself, wow, that was my very first design. In fact, the design that brought me up, that people actually saw my work and they're like, this is awesome, was even a very rubbish design because you have grown, right? But you actually have to put that leg forward first. So yes, you have to put that leg forward first. So let's not deliberate too much on this and let's just go to the next question. Sorry, I'm just trying to rush through this because right after now I have another meeting that I'm going to be in on. So like I said, just write down your questions and we'll take them at the end. So how can an individual maintain authenticity and consistency across different online platforms while still presenting a professional image?
Authenticity, consistency. Well, authenticity, of course, is you just being yourself. So I tell people, be natural, do your own thing. Don't try to sound like your mentor. Don't try to sound like this person. Be yourself. Be authentic, right? Do your thing. Yes, copy one or two things, paste and tweak. Because, for instance, if you are sounding like, let's say you are doing stuff like this person, they will say, oh, this is the next. Do you get me? Let's say, for instance, an artist, I like using things that everybody understands and who people know. Let's say, for instance, an artist like Davido, and you are an upcoming artist and you have been following Davido and you want to do like Davido and you start doing like Davido, your voice like Davido, you should be like that. They say, what do they say? They say, this is the next Davido. You see how they take away your shine and still point it at the person that you're emulating or copying from. But when you are authentic on your own, right, they call you yourself. Okay, let's use football for instance, right? Ansu Fati, people labeled him the next Messi. And for those of us who watch football, if you know what football, sorry, they called Ansu Fati the next Messi. Where is he today? The next person, that's what they called him. Why? Because I don't know, because maybe okay, let's say because he played for Barcelona where Messi was. He had potential, but today he's on loan in one club and he doesn't even see matches that much. Then there is now Mbappe and Haaland on the sidelines that are doing very well for themselves, competing at the highest level. Do you hear anybody call Mbappe the next Ronaldo or the next Messi or Haaland? Because they are authentic. They are not playing like these people. They don't have these people's attributes, but they are doing their own thing and they are delivering results, right? So it's about being authentic. And there's a book I read, still like what's that of that book again? Still like a proof, something like that. Was here, can't find it. The writer will say that if you, of course, it's normal. If you copy from one person, it is plagiarism. But if you take from different sources, it has become research. So yes, authenticity does not mean that it has to come from your head, or it has to come from you directly. No, it doesn't mean that way. Doesn't work that way. If you can get from different sources together and put it together and make it sound like you, then it is authentic. It is yours, right? Nobody can take it from you because you didn't copy from one place and just dump it. And now looks like exactly this is what these people did, right? Movies we watch, there's a lot of copy and paste, right? No scriptwriter just, yes, there are scriptwriters that, of course, their imagination works very fast, but it's also an accumulation of several movies that they have watched, several scenes that they have seen, and how the things are being structured. And they now use it to write an original story that is now their own work, right? And it's now authentic. But the ideas from that story still comes out from what they have seen from somewhere else because there's nothing new under the sun. So try as much as possible to pick out things from other places that are working and make it original so you can be authentic. And of course, for that of consistency, say if I said it, just keep doing it, right? Nike is Nike now that says, do it. Just do it. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep putting it. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, it can be tiring, but keep doing it. And then, of course, she's talking about consistency across different online platforms. Well, for me, I like to say that if you know where you have your strength, you stick to it and where you're going to get the best result. But if your strength is not in that particular place, and maybe you can pick from different places, you have the ability to spread your wings across different platforms, then by all means, fine, you can, right? And I also know individuals that on LinkedIn, they are professionals, but on a different platform like maybe Instagram, their lifestyle is different, right? They don't present the same view they present on LinkedIn. It's their choice, right? And of course, you can still look at them in that direction. But if you want to maintain their professionalism across different platforms, which is mostly advisable, right? It's a matter of using the same voice, telling the same kind of stories, but aligning it to the different platforms, right? You know what works on LinkedIn. It's very much professional. On Instagram, people are more inclined to looking at high quality pictures and videos. You keep your professional tone, but this time around, you change the direction a little. You go to Twitter. Twitter, people like controversy, is mostly controversial. You're still professional. You keep a professional tone. You give your opinions and your takes, right? But be ready, of course, for controversial opinions to come from different angles. So it's just that you maintain your consistency and you become authentic at it. That's on that for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Ivy, for this. Yeah, so me, I'm not really a social media person like that. See, don't think that, because I'm not doing it now, it's something that I cannot do. Obviously, it's something that I'm going to be investing a bit of time into, because there's something I've been chasing for a while, and I knew that if I had been working on that social media pages for some time now, I would have actually gotten it. But yeah, since I'm not so bothered about it, I just push that aside. But regardless, it's very, very important, right? And okay, so at this point, I'll just like try to take on questions. I can see a question already on the chat box. So I think it's the same person who asked. So just to say a little something about imposter syndrome, right? So it will make you feel like, oh, I need somebody to tell me to do this. Listen, that's why a lot of people came into this program and they were asking those questions like, oh, if I finish, am I going to get internship? People just believe that if I finish this program and I get internship, it's going to work. Trust me. Like I said from the very start, you can finish this program. We're not placing in this program, but yes, you can be placed in an internship. And after that internship, nothing will still move forward. So if you realize that you're that person, that type of person that you need somebody to tell you to do something first before you move, then this is where you're going to do yourself this favor. While you're in this program, whatever you learn, you would go on Upwork, you would go there, you will read through job descriptions, and you will create products by yourself. If you're a digital marketer, you go and see descriptions of people saying, oh, I need a digital marketer to do X, Y, Z, and this for me. And you would take that and you practice by yourself. See, it's you telling yourself that you cannot do it. You can. Trust me. There were I you see these skills that a lot that we are having that we're teaching here in Lagos, right? That people joke with. It's quite sad because it is not in other states. IB, you can confirm this with me. Other states do not have all these free courses. And hence those youths do not think in the way that a lot of people think in Lagos. Why? Lagos, people in Lagos are exposed to so much, and yet they are cheating and shortchanging themselves. Because now they're going towards the route of, is there money going to be paid for us? Is there No, you don't need that. To be honest, you do not need that. First, you need to really gain the confidence and minimize self-doubt. See, there is no that small voice, I mean that voice telling you at the back of your head that you cannot do it. I'm not a pastor, but you can do it. In fact, the minute you realize that, it's just saying, okay, try something as small as saying, oh, I want to create a product. Or imagine you go on Upwork to just see what they call that, a sample work that somebody wants to do, and then you want to do that. And then you do that, and your mind is already telling you that you cannot do it. What if you cannot do it? What is what is the harm in you trying, actually? Have you ever asked yourself? See, that's one way I minimize doubts and self-doubt. When I get the feeling that, oh, I cannot do this, I just tell myself, what is the harm in doing it? See, the highest I'll get is a no, right? That's the highest that will come to me. Someone will say no to me. Finish. And then no, that's all. And then you still have to push forward. So, right? I guess we're going to really work on this. Is good. I like this question that I'm seeing here because that's what's going to gear us towards. I see the kind of mentor we're going to need to have in this group from this, because it's true that a lot of people in this program really need some of these things. So let's just go to the questions that you have, apart from this person that asked about if you can, how to eliminate, um, how to gain more self-confidence. If you have a
So let me
question, just
say
put up your
something.
hands. Okay,
Yeah, anybody has a
maybe you
question,
can
put up
speak.
your hand. But let me just say something. So the truth is that there is nothing that builds self-doubt more than you receiving no. See, there was a time in my life that if someone tells me no, even to now, just let me just not see a time in my life. Let me be very plain and open. I like being honest when I'm talking to young people like me too. If someone tells me no, right, I feel so down. I feel so rejected. I feel so I'm not good enough. And there is nothing that gives you more doubt in yourself, more low self-esteem and lack of self-confidence than receiving a no from someone, right? From people. It's just like the same thing like a guy trying to woo a girl. Guys with low confidence who are check out most of the guys that can woo women without fear. It's because they know that last, if she no agree, I move on, right? But there are those ones that will think it through. If she says no, okay, if she says no, am I going to feel and this and that and that? That's one of the things that increases yourself. That, but the moment you learn to understand that no will always be a word that you will hear, whether you like it or not, you will always get no. But when you get the no, you ask yourself, okay, that's it, to the next one. There's something I'm applying for. I'm going to say it here. I've been applying for that stuff. Like, I've applied like 4 times now, if I'm not mistaken. 2 times, the first 2 times I got past the the first stage and got to the last stage, and I didn't make it in. I got no's twice. The first time I felt so bad, so dejected, so angry, so like low self, But I had to pick up myself and say, okay, it's not the end of the world. Just hold on, apply again. I tried again. I got a no. I rested. I tried the third time. I didn't even make it through the second stage. I relaxed, right? And I'm going to try again because I've understood that in this professional world, you always get no. Not just in professional, in anything, you will get no, right? You will get people that will tell you no. It doesn't make you any less of yourself. It doesn't make you any less of whom you think you are or less of your abilities. You will always be able to conquer and achieve anything, with or without that person accepting you or not. What is his name? Denzel Washington, one of the greatest actors in America. You guys know him, Equalizer. He was supposed to attend. There was a school he applied to, and he did not make it in. Right? Yeah, I think I read that story. He didn't make it in. Fast forward to how many years later, he was the one giving the graduating students a speech on how to make it in the real world. A school that rejected him when he applied about 2 times or so. So that's just the world for you. So until you eliminate that, self-doubt will always be there for you because there's nothing greater than self-doubt than because when you try, what kills people that have low self-confidence the most is they manage to try and then they get a no, or they didn't get the expectation that they wanted, and they feel like the world is on top of their shoulders. No, it's not. Keep trying. Try and try and try again. Just do it and say, oh, I don't want to use the F word, but that's what it is. Oh, okay, no, all right, on to the next one. Oh, please get away, on to the next one. That's it.
Exactly. That's just the word. So this person asks, say, is certification really important in getting employed on LinkedIn? Or should I say, what do employers look out for in an employee on LinkedIn? Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, do
Okay,
you
want to say
want to
something?
answer first?
Uh,
Yeah, sure.
I will say
Answer first.
certification is very, very important. Certification, of course, is a good to have. It shows that, okay, you are serious, you've done this, right? So it's very good to have. But there are many other things that employers look out for in an employee, right? Character, charisma. Um, yes, character, charisma, communication. How best can you communicate? What can you communicate well? How good are you going to be to add to their system or their values? Because take it or leave it, anybody can get a certification. I can take an online course and get a certification. Anybody can do anything, get a certification. Certification is there, right? But there are other core values that they are going to be looking out for, which you have to build. Those soft skills are very important, especially The hard skills are there, the ones that you have to know the job. But you see, those soft skills, they are also very, very important. And you have to develop them because those are the things that they look out for. And most of the times, they look out for these stuff when they have gotten to the next phase, not the certification phase. Now, I don't know when they're asking your qualifications. The next phase of when you guys are having a communication and they have to ask you what you do, what your core values are, and from communicate. I'll tell you something. There's a guy that my boss, one of my boss, there was a time we're looking for an animator for something, right? And they were supposed to employ this guy. I was the one that brought him in. But the way he was talking, there were two persons, and one was more lively, right? He was talking in a more lively manner, the way he was talking, the way he was saying things. Then the other guy was just, he knows his job very well. He knows it. I feel like, I think he even knows more than the other person that was lively, right? But the employer opted for this other guy that was lively because he felt like this one is going to be better in their system. He's better at communicating. He looks more agile. He's going to be more in a corporate and disciplined environment than this other one. And that's it. Right? So sometimes you have to think of all of these things too.
Okay, just to add to what he said. So employers always look for, like you said, those soft skills, they look for transferable skills, right? So that is why you can see that somebody that studied agriculture or did this thing, you did customer care, now you are doing programs management, like how is it related? It is relationship. The person knows how to handle relationship. He knows how to deal with people, something that you need when you're managing projects and programs, right? So that is transferable skills. So they want to see that, oh, okay, you do not 100% have this skill, but what other skills do you have that we can actually use, that we can work with, that can be beneficial to our company? So it's why you should be very, very careful in, I mean, the things you post on your social media pages, right? It's not every banter that you put yourself inside. It's not every rant that, in fact, for me personally, I feel like you can leave those things for your personal page, like your WhatsApp, except you are the type of person that, oh, you're into content creating and stuff like that. Like you don't really want to work in a professional space, right? But if you know that you want to work in a professional space and you want to get hired, there are some things you should spend more time building, some core skills. Like they want to say, okay, oh, you 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 worked as a customer care representative, but what can you do? Fine, even if you cannot use that software, they want to know if you can deal with people, if you can handle situations when something is going bad. What is your first reaction? Are you the type of person that just criticize, like, oh, this is what these people should have done first, or you're the type that just brings up a solution, right? So those are like very core things that they always look out for. So it's something you should actually take note. So yes, certification is important, but I can tell you that if you can actually put out yourself and show the things that you can do, regardless you not having a certificate in a certain area, except companies are looking for experience that they do not want to pay for, i.e., they do not want to pay to train you, right? But they want someone that has skills already. Is why you keep seeing the CVs that go, the job requirements that go out. They're always looking for somebody that already has a certain level of experience. So, right, so that's the thing. They don't want to spend money to train you, but they want to make sure that you have certain skills because they don't want to train you from scratch, right? Very few people do want to train you from scratch, not everyone, right? So those are things that you should consider as well. So I saw Yusuf raised his hand. Are you still on the call? Yes. So Yusuf,
Yes, I'm
your
still there.
question,
I'm still
your question.
right on this issue of certification and online present. Take for example now, I have a very, very optimized LinkedIn profile, but I'm not the kind of person that likes posting content consistently. I may try to like create content using ChatGPT, but I know I'm not genuine. So most of my works are always focused on the job that I do instead of updating all of my milestone and progress consistently on LinkedIn, for instance, now because networking is very important. And we all know that if you want to get motivation, you go to LinkedIn. If you want to get depressed, you go to LinkedIn. And some of them, when you meet them in real life, you're even doing better than them. Some of them I've seen consistently, time and time again, people who like go all out on LinkedIn and start posting and everything. They cannot even perform on the jobs they are lying on their CV. So me, what I'm very confused by, because when you are talking about consistency, that is what keeps on occurring in my mind. Like, okay, but I'm putting 100 into my job, yeah. How do I draw the line? Like, do I need to like social media validation or proof of work or anything, or to build social capital in that essence? Take for example, now I'm doing UX training here at the DIGIGAP, creating content. Oh, today we talked about this thing in a Zoom meeting, and some of this information you cannot dislodge everything. But at the end of the day, you and I will agree that it requires a lot of work. So how do you draw the line between like consistently posting on social media and having enough time to focus on your work, to hone on your skills? Like you just said now, like they need people with a certain amount of experience and competency to carry out work.
Okay. So on that, right? Like you just said, I understand that there are a lot of persons that so yes, sometimes instance as people look for social media validation. Yes. And like you just said, if you want to sometimes if you want to get motivation, go to LinkedIn. If you want to get depressed, still go to LinkedIn, because some of the people you see pushing out stuff, most people are doing better than them, right? You that doesn't do anything like that does better than them. But the thing now is sometimes you might want to explore bigger opportunities, and maybe that bigger opportunity might not come from your circle and might just come from someone outside. I know someone that he doesn't have time for any of these social, but he still gets jobs because he has referrals, which is, I feel like that is even the best way to even get stuff, right? But sometimes you need to explore other options and trying to draw the line between you posting content or being consistent on socials and having time for your work. It does not mean that you have to sleep on social media, right? Um, Most of the guys who are still consistent on socials still do their daily 9 to 5 jobs or still have their jobs, right? They just know when to come give their takes. Maybe you can dedicate, okay, in a day, I have maybe this hour of free time. I dedicate this free time to, or this particular, maybe 1 hour or 30 minutes to socials. I'll drop my stuff, right? If I get comments within that particular amount of minutes, right, I will reply the comments. And anyone that comes after that is not my business again. And then you go and focus on your job and do your stuff, right? And then you just, the next day, you come again, you say, okay, this is the next day. Or maybe in the next 2 days, you dedicate, I will do this for every day. Or yeah, every day or every 2 days, I'll give maybe 30 minutes to my socials. You've already thought about what you want. You can maybe even decide that, okay, one weekend, you want to think about the kind of stuff you want to be posting and maybe have them down, aligned, and you already have a pattern at which you want it to flow. Except, of course, sometimes they get distorted because there might be something that might be trending and you want to jump on the trend, right? And that is how I feel like we can draw a line, because it doesn't mean that you have to go and sleep on the platform morning, afternoon, night. You are there trying to, because you want to get validation or because you want your online presence to be felt, you want to build a professional online presence. No. That's not it, because while you're trying to build a presence, there's something that's putting food on your table and you're also building experience through that thing. So you have to focus on that one as well. I hope this helps though.
Okay, Yusuf, has your question been answered? Sorry, I got kicked out by network.
Right. I can totally understand and relate what you're saying. True.
Okay, so just to add a little bit of something, right? So I know that we always say that, oh, I'm super busy, I don't really have time to do this, but I can tell you something. There is a trick I started using very recently, because usually my 9 to 5 is more like 9 to 9 or 9 to 3 a.m. in the morning self. So, and I wasn't having enough time to rest or any of that. So what I started doing was, you assign a couple of minutes to a particular task, right? You could give yourself, say, if you know it's something that takes a bit of time, you can give it 30 minutes. In 30 minutes time, you're going to have your alarm ring. So you'd see how much time you're spending on each task. And I can tell you, if you write out all the tasks you're working on, assign time to them like that, you'll find out that at the end of the day, you don't even have so much you're working on. Like, you'd be surprised. You'd be like, wait, this is all the stuff I was doing. So you can just realize at the end of the day, it's more like 4, 5, 6 things that you needed to do, right? So that would help you maximize your time so you can actually find space and time for the things that you want to do.
Okay, I think there's one more person, Ginika, right? Your hand is up. Your hand
Yes,
has been-
yes, Nome. Yeah, she's actually the last person.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again for this section. Okay, yeah, my question is, I'm a customer support person. I've spent a couple of years in that career path. It's something I know very well. That was the first job I started when I was done with my school, and for years now I've been doing that. But then I'm switching to another career path, which is product design. So sometimes it's as if it gets into my head. I feel like, are you sure you're not making any mistake? Are you sure you're gonna, scale very well, just like you did in the other career? So sometimes I think I'm having this imposter thing. I was actually the one who dropped the question. So I don't know how you can help me. I don't know what's your advice or what's your take on this?
Okay, Ome, you know what you just said now, is the same thing I go through. Maybe when I see you, I'll tell you. So I can really understand. I perfectly understand. And first things first, I have to applaud your courage, right? Because it takes courage to switch from what is actually sorting out your bills at the moment, putting food on your table, giving you what you want at the moment, right? You should be comfortable in it. Oh, okay, I'm doing this. Let me be comfortable. Let me just do it. Right? It takes courage to switch from that stuff and decide to go into something that you are not sure of yet. You don't know if you're going to make it in this thing. You don't even know if you're making a big mistake going into this particular thing, right? But you dive into it anyways. So someone said that you have to dive into something. Dive into the water, you will not drown. That's the truth. So far as you put your mind, your energy to it, you will not drown. I'm passing through the same thing at this moment in my life. I'm not saying tomorrow, next. I mean, at this moment in my life, right? I've heard a lot of things. I've thought a lot of things. I'm scared, right? And you even have more courage than me at the moment because you've already dived into the water. And I can promise you that you will not drown. Just don't think about what might happen or what might not happen, right? Focus on, let me achieve this. Let me do this, right? It's okay to be comfortable with what you've been doing. You're in your comfort zone. I'm used to this thing. I know this thing. I've done it for years. I'm a master at this art at this moment. I'm comfortable. Let me just be there, right? And then it takes another guts to want more and to want to do something that you have no single idea about from scratch. And I can tell you that, yes, the imposter syndrome will be there. You'll be thinking, so you have so many thoughts in your head. I can tell you, I can tell you for a fact that even when you are done with learning, you will still have those thoughts. Even when you've even started doing jobs as a professional, you might still have those thoughts sometimes in your head. But along the line, as you go on and as you carry on, and as you say, don't worry, that I'll do this stuff and I'll make it in this stuff, right? You will definitely get a hang of it. And before you know it, you become so good at it that you will not even remember when you were thinking of, oh, I'm putting my hand in the fire. Will it burn me or not? So yeah, I think that's what I can tell you. Maybe when we see face to face, I will tell you my own personal experience at the moment. But for now, I think this is what I can say to you at this moment. Don't be scared oh, I'm going into a new field. Yes, the fear will be there, but try as much as possible to shift the fear and clear the doubt, put them at the back of your mind, and put the positive one in front, because whoever is standing in front is who is going to be the first person that comes out. So put the positive one in front and put the fear at the back, and just put your best to it. You will see that in the end, you will actually be more than what you thought you can be, and you will surprise yourself. I bet you on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if I, is there any other person?
No, so there's no other person. Nome is the last person. So there is something I wanted to say here, but I'll just give you the feedback when you come in person. And it's good because this is good because now we know what direction the people we're working with actually need help with. So we know where we're directing all. We know how your mentorship session is going to go per se. This is actually very good. Like this is progress. So I like this. But Nama, I'm going to say something to you, right? I've actually noticed that most people in customer care tend to go towards the line of product design. You're not the first person. And that's a good thing. You might think that it's really totally different, but you have an advantage over someone who doesn't understand customers, right? Because you're going to be building products that people will be using. You already have insights to how people think, how people actually are. You've related with people. So in more than one way that you have a head start. Like when you want to do something, you're just going to remember, okay, this is how people reacted to this. So you would have a kind of if you say in line of using design thinking, there is something called empathy. You're going to have that more towards creating your products, and that's going to assist you in actually creating products that would work better with people. And it's something you're going to find out when you actually start doing the work. You'd actually see that, oh, that's the transferable skills I was talking about. You literally have something more than enough that you're moving towards this part of the work, right? It's not so different. It's not as different as it looks. You're going to understand as you progress. So with that, I would say we've come towards the end of today's session. And I was so happy to actually have all of you on. Oh, sorry, I got kicked out again. Okay, so with that, we've come to the end of today's session. So, like I said, before you leave, please fill in the attendance and just put in all those responses. Be open about your feedback, right? When you're asked for feedback and comments, please put what it is, how you actually feel it is, because that's how we're going to make changes that will really work for you. So thank you all so much for coming on this session. Thank you so much, IB, for what's that word, for honoring our invitation. And thank you so much to everyone who took part. Um, I just want to say have a great day and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.